Hi, today I want to talk to you about the very worst DC to AC power inverter that I have purchased. To this day, this is the worst thing I have done, and a replacement is on the way, but I'm going to be all honest with you. This inverter is the worst thing I ever spent money on. Now, we are saving money for my girlfriend to get another car, but we both decided that having another pure sine wave inverter would be a good idea with the way the weather's been acting around the country. Um, I apologize if the lighting is off. I do have some extra lights up, but I'm going to show you this inverter, and I'm going to tell you how my YouTube channel, this one right now, has actually helped me dealing with the seller of this inverter. Now first, let's go into the inverter. This is it. Now this is supposed to be a 1500 watt pure sine wave inverter. This came in Friday, well, last Friday. I've been going over this with the seller since it came in. The first thing I did was to run a test on this, like I always do on every inverter or anything I get that has to power something else. Well, as soon as I hooked it up, it was outside during the day. My solar was working just fine. I hooked it up outside. I ran an extension cord into my small microwave. It's a 700 watt microwave which pulls 1150 watts max. This inverter should have had no issues pulling that microwave. Now the first thing it did was the microwave turned on and immediately kicked off. So I went outside and there was smoke coming from out the front here. That's never a good sign. Now they did send extra fuses, so I pulled the cover off, which is a royal pain in the butt to put back on. But I pulled the fuses out, and I'll show you what I found. This fuse is not blown, but the fuse itself, I don't know if you can tell on this camera or not, but it's melting. This fuse is blown. Once again, it's melting. Now for this one. These two fuses did not blow, but they're melting. And they actually melted together. And right here, it's not blown, either one of them. But they melted. This overheated so much, had such a bad power through it that it actually melted two fuses together. These are 40 amp fuses. Okay, so then I took the replacement fuses that they sent. I put them in the inverter, tried it, once again on my microwave, and they melted. Not as bad as these, but they were definitely melting. So I went outside. First, after this happened, let's keep the story straight here, keep everything right. After it happened, I notified the seller. I had already had the cover off because I replaced the fuses. And I notified the seller, and their questions were, now this is over a couple days period of time. One, were my batteries strong enough? I'm sorry, if you have dead batteries, it's sure not going to do this. Since it was hooked up to my batteries outside, they had 13.4 volts, 13.5, and it was hooked up to my solar, and it was in the middle of the day. Yeah, my power was fine. The second thing they asked is if it was overloaded. A 1500 watt power inverter will definitely carry a 700 watt microwave without an issue. So of course, no, it was not overloaded. Now I already took the screws out of this cover. I want to show you something that I discovered after I put the last bit of fuses in here. And unfortunately, I already put some tape on this. I have to try to remove the tape so you can see. I should have done that already. But I want to show you something. The inverter looks fine, right? Now to get this cover off and on, it is a pain in the butt. Now you can see back here on the back, I don't know. Oh, it smells so bad. It smells like burnt electronics. Sorry about that. Right here in the back, it has trouble going over the fans. The cover does not work properly. Alright. Now, since I put the last fuses, now I got these out of my van. I had extra fuses. They are 40 amp. I haven't tried this on anything, so I don't know what it would do. But the two fuses that were melted were right here. These right here were the ones melted together. In the back here is the two other fuses. And I don't think you can see them because the wires are in the way. Right there and right there. Now what I also discovered, you can see right here, so there's some electrical tape. Let me see if I can get this off and I'll show you and tell you what I think happened. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand, but I wanted you to see how hard that cover is to come off. Right here is the neutral wire. Here's positive, here's negative. Now if you look here, right there, that's exposed wiring. And what I think happened, and it's also flattened, that is exposed and flattened wire. Right there. I'm trying to get it to where you can see it. Now what I think happened was this wire got pushed down, something like this. When they put the cover on, it pushed out the wire and exposed the neutral side to the case. Now these are open ground, which the ground and negatives hook together. So I don't know why that would affect it, unless it has a short somewhere else. What I also found out, up here, it looks like it could be up there, if I don't know if you can see that, right there. Looks like it could be burnt. And this has a very strong smell of burning electronics. Also, right here, right there, that resistor looks burnt or blown. So I immediately notified them. They had a bunch of questions for me. Now, let's get one thing straight. Every time I get an inverter that's over 1,000 watts, I don't use this crap. Now, if you look at the way the heat shrink is on, you will see how far up that goes. So when you try to screw it down, the heat shrink will keep this from making a good connection. So if you're going to use these cables like this, always cut that heat shrink back some so you can make sure it gets a good connection. These cables are made where the heat shrink is covering too much. Now I did make a brand new set of cables out of 2-gauge welder's wire with much heavier terminals, like I always do on every inverter that's over 1,000 watts. So, how did YouTube help me? Okay. They wanted to fight and argue with me about getting a replacement. And after a couple days, I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a video for my YouTube channel on this inverter. They weren't happy about that, but you know, they didn't think not much of it, because if you come to my YouTube channel, I only have like 600 subscribers. I'm not one of these people that beg for subscriptions. I'm not sponsored. You know, the numbers don't really matter to me. If somebody wants to watch my videos, they will. And actually, less than 3%, according to YouTube, only 2% of my subscribers ever return to watch another video. But I also get notified of how many views my videos have. Now this would be on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, whatever. My views have hit pretty high enough to where they took notice. Let me show you. I apologize, I have to turn the camera around. So, on April 17th of 2024, I have hit 250,000 views. Now, I'm not big when it comes to being on YouTube. I'm not big when it comes to being on Rumble. But when people watch my stuff, they're not subscribed. When they watch my stuff, it does add up. I sent them this. And I let them know I'm going to do a review on this inverter, and I will send, not send, but I will do a review on anything they send as a replacement. They are not sending one of these. That was their choice. I did not ask for anything more expensive. I did not ask for any other type of inverter. All I asked was for a working inverter. And the problem I have with this company is they had me tear this apart and look around to see what I could find and what I could figure out. Now, I do have several inverters. Y'all have seen them on my channel. My Reliable Electrics 1500 watt pure sine wave inverter. That's the inverter I have hooked to the car battery running my 12 volt fridge. A couple of videos, last video or video before this one, so a couple of videos back, whatever. That's a very good inverter. So instead of sending me one of these, apparently they've had issues with these in the past. They're sending me a different inverter. Now it basically looks like our inverter that we already have, but this one is white. And I'll show you that inverter too that they're going to send me. Sorry about the hand. Sorry about the moving the camera. So they're going to send me another inverter. Not this type, a different one. Now, I do have an issue with this inverter. Of course, it doesn't work. Melting fuses. And it took me telling them I was going to upload a video on my YouTube channel and showing them literally I have 250,000 views on my videos for them to go, oh, okay, we're going to take care of this. Now, they said that they would test the inverter before it leaves the factory, and I believe all these are made in China, and then they're going to send me a video of it being tested, then they're going to send it to me. And I should be getting that tomorrow or the next day. I should not have had to go through this. I should not have had to do it this way. Anytime a regular customer of a company, a business, buys a product, the product should work. They shouldn't give you shit if it doesn't. And the thing is, I sent them pictures of this thing smoking. I sent them pictures of the fuses literally melted. That one's not blown, but it's melting. That one's melting and it is blown. I literally sent them pictures. I sent them pictures of the wire that's exposed. And it took me doing this. Now, whether this company is a decent company or a bad company, I'm not going to say. I'm not even going to say who sells them, these inverters. Because some of their other inverters may be great. But I will tell you, from the hell I'm going through and have been going through with these people trying to get a replacement has not been easy. And it took me showing them I have a YouTube channel. And it took me showing them I have 250,000 views. That's 250,000 views on my videos. And then all of a sudden they were more than happy to send a replacement. So this channel right here, the one you're watching, I have a feeling is the reason they're doing this. Because I told them I'd make a video and let everybody know. Now, it is true, me and my girlfriend are still saving money for her to get a car. We have about $300 put back for a vehicle. But me and my girlfriend talked about this, and with the way the weather's been acting and the things that has been going on around the country right now, we decided having an extra pure sine wave inverter would be a very good idea. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if the power goes out, I do not want to run or try to run both my chest freezer and my mini fridge and the fridge off of a single 1500 watt inverter. It's not going to happen. Now, the other inverter I have will run my mini fridge, chest freezer, and other things. So we wanted an inverter for each heavy draw or each heavy load, which is a chest freezer and the fridge. Now, as far as running itself, the fridge running, chest freezer running, they don't take that much power until the compressor kicks on. And that's anywhere from 3 to 10 times the power draw. Depends on what you have. So if the compressor kicked on both of these at the same time, and they were plugged into the exact same inverter, it would trip. It would overload and trip. So having two inverters is a good idea. Even if you have a larger inverter, like a 5,000, 6,000, even a 10,000 watt inverter, there's a couple things you have to understand. One, the amperage coming out these plugs is limited on every one of these. The other inverter we have, which is the Reliable Electrics inverter, 1500 watt, is limited to 15 amps. Some are limited to 15.5, some are even 30 amps. Most, when you have plugs like this, unless you have a way to hardwire it in, when you have plugs, most of these are 15 amps. Some will go up as high as 20. Now, let's talk about the bad things with this inverter. Heat. Now, all the MOSFETs, you would think would be right here. Guess what? They're not. They are some up here, right there. That's all right there, that little metal piece to keep the heat away from these. That's not a good design. The plugs on this are too close together. If you have something with a round plug on it, or a replacement plug that's too big, it will cover the other plug, so you can only use one plug. And this is a pain in the butt to put back on. So, my YouTube channel, this one right here, is helping me. But, not everybody has a YouTube channel. Not everybody has a notification that says you have 250,000 views. Now, understand, I only have about 600 subscribers. I don't ask you to do that. If you want to see my videos, that's fine. If not, fine. I understand I don't have the best equipment to record stuff. I don't have the best lighting. In fact, I believe this video is going to be really off on one side and bright on the other. I apologize. But I want you to see this. This inverter right here. WZR ELB. 1500 watt, 12 volt. Immediately shorted out, started smoking, and I believe it was because of the wire. I believe when they put that together, that wire was sitting there, and they put the lid on and smashed it down, which literally grounded out the entire inverter. Now, these inverters have an open ground generally. Very few inverters I've seen you can actually hook ground up to. I do have a couple. Most of those are actually modified sine wave. But I have seen a couple where you can actually ground the inverter itself. This isn't. It's an open ground. If it wasn't for this channel right here, I'd still be fighting with these people right now to this day. And they did say they will send me another one. They sent me a picture of this white one I showed you. And they said, will this one work? I don't care. I paid for a 1500 watt, 12 volt pure sine wave inverter. I don't care what you send me as long as it is 12 volts and 1500 watts. That's it. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care how it looks. I don't care how it hooks up. I don't care, you know, if the plugs are next to each other or farther apart. I just want what I paid for. That works. Now I have 4 brand new fuses in here. From out of my van, I had extra fuses. And I did order more fuses so I can replace the fuses I took out of my van. I'm not turning this on. You're probably going, why? If I turn it on and try to test this thing again, I already know it will not run the microwave, the 700 watt microwave. Now, the way these inverters are made, even if some of the fuses blow, depends on the inverter, but the way this one's supposed to be made, even if 1 or 2 fuses blow, you should still get some power out of the other fuses, the way it's made. But it will reduce the power output. Problem is, every time this thing is hooked up and turned on, it smells like something burning. Now, when they send the other inverter, I will do a review on it, and if I find that it's a good working inverter, I'll let you know. Yeah, I don't know if you heard my neighbor outside. He's allowing people to live here, which is against the lease, but he's doing it anyway. But understand, if you get an inverter, always make sure you have a backup for important things. Your fridge, your chest freezer, medical equipment. I don't care if it's a modified sine wave inverter. Even though a lot of things absolutely hate modified sine wave. The thing is, I have a video on here a ways back where I believe it is my 1100 watt power bright inverter hooked up in my van running a 700 watt microwave. This could not run a 700 watt microwave. And once again, I think it was because of the wire, but it has completely shorted something out. And if it wasn't for me letting them know I'm posting this crap on YouTube, and I do pay for everything I review. I do not get stuff for free. People don't send me stuff. Even if they wanted to, I would turn them down. Because that is bias. Anytime you have a YouTuber saying, you know, I'm reviewing this, it's great, it's this and that, and they're getting paid or sent for something sent for free, there's a bias there. So everything I review, we paid for. Nobody sends us anything. I don't get sponsored by anybody. That way you know, 100%, you know that I will tell you 100% the truth about something. If it's good, I'll tell you. If it's bad and it sucks, I'll tell you. Nobody's going to pay me off like some of these YouTubers. This is the worst buy I have ever bought off of eBay. The thing literally smoked as soon as I started to test it. And I always start to test stuff on lower wattages, such as my 700 watt microwave. This thing should have had no problems carrying that. But because of, I think this was the problem, that wire, right there, right here, and you can see it right there. I think when they put the lid on, they smashed it with this. Because there's kind of a sharp, it's not super sharp, but it's a pretty thin lip there. And I think they pushed down on it, and they kinked that, and right here. And something that I don't get is, you know, I apologize if I moved away too much. Something I don't get is, why do these sellers, why do you have to fight with them? If you paid your money to get something and it doesn't work, and you can prove to them, literally, with pictures, that, hey, this is wrong with this, they shouldn't fight with you. It should not take somebody having a YouTube channel to say, you know what, I'm going to post this. Now, I will say the company I purchased this from, the emails say Reliable Power. I wasn't going to name them, but I'm going to name them because if they continue to sell this inverter the way it acted and the way it is, I know you may get a good one. Hopefully you do. I did go through their feedback. Now, unfortunately, eBay only lets you see about a month of feedback. You have to really dig kind of to see like a year before now, 6 months, whatever. And apparently someone else had problems with the thing blowing fuses. But they didn't say it melted any of them. This thing melted. It's melting the fuses. Now, I did, like I say, have electrical tape on this to let you see that, you know, there was exposed wiring, and I showed you, you know, I took the tape off myself. Don't buy this inverter. Now I'm going to try to get this damn lid back on. Actually, yeah. because I want to show you something. I will have to use two hands to do this. But I want you to see right here. The lid is really not big enough to go over the fans. So you have to pretty much get this inverter lid set and kind of beat it to get the lid on. The lid itself, instead of being straight down, let me see if I can show you this, it's kind of angled towards the inside. That's why it's so hard to get on. This is the inverter. Avoid it. I will let you know if the other one, or when the other one comes in. I will do a review on it and let you know how well it's working. But this is ridiculous. This is not the way to make an inverter. Any place you have MOSFETs, period, like over here, you should have a way to get rid of the heat. Like I said, it looks like maybe there's a burnt spot on this board. Maybe even a couple burnt spots, but it's hard for me to see. And right here, definitely. Right there. That is definitely not working right. Yeah, you can see that white right there. That white area looks, think about paint that's buckling, peeling. You know what I mean? That's what that looks like. The outside of it looks like paint that's dried, but it's like peeling and buckling out. If you've ever worked on something with dried paint where it's just kind of splintering out everywhere, that's what that looks like. Some parts of it are covered in white and some parts are not. So there's definitely something wrong there. Do I blame the company for this inverter? No, I don't. Sometimes they get these things and they're not going to check these. And the thing is, when I turned it on, the displays both lit up just fine. When I plugged it in, it was fine. Until I tried to run something. And then smoke and poop. Poof. Just whatever. If you can, if you want an inverter, avoid this. Save your money, save an extra 10, 20 bucks, whatever it is, and get an inverter like the one I show you, the Sangyong or whatever it is, Reliable Electrics. It kind of looks like the white one that just go through my videos where I show the car battery running the 12 volt fridge. I have my inverter hooked up. Get that brand, get that kind. It's much better built than something like this. Now, unfortunately, I've been rambling for 35 minutes. But honestly, if it wasn't for my YouTube channel and people viewing my videos, even if they don't subscribe, I have some views. That helped me deal with this company. If you are an average person and you're spending money on something, you shouldn't have to go, well, I don't have YouTube, I don't have a channel on YouTube, or I don't have a TikTok or Twitter account or whatever, and I don't have people viewing my stuff. So what do? Then you have to really fight tooth and nail. Because even though I have a YouTube channel, it literally took me telling them I was uploading a video on this inverter and the way they did me about this inverter before they responded with, we're going to send you another inverter to replace this messed up one. Once again, if you subscribe to my stuff, thank you. If you don't, hey, great, glad you're here. When you look for a power inverter, no. And I have seen these types go for $200 on eBay. $199, literally on eBay. Get one where the plugs are separate, farther apart. That way you can use both plugs if you need to use both plugs. I will tell you right now, once again, if you have a larger inverter for important items, always have a backup just for those items, just to cover those if your big inverter goes out. Can you imagine what would happen to somebody if they had an 8,000 watt inverter that cost them $2,000 and it started doing this and smoking? Anything that we're trying to run will not run now, and their inverter most likely is messed up. So make sure you have a backup, even if it's a modified sine wave that will run certain things. Remember, electronics don't like modified sine waves. Air conditioners don't like them. It will run, but it just doesn't like modified sine wave because it's a very dirty power. Think about Legos. All right, they're square. That's the sine wave on modified. They're square. Now think about a ball that's round at the top and bottom. That's pure sine wave. There's a big difference. And appliances don't really like modified sine wave. But if that's all you have, that's all you can get to run important things, just know some things really hate modified sine wave. Some things will not run on modified sine wave. That's why we wanted another pure sine wave inverter. Because I have a couple modified sine waves. I have the 400 watt. There's a 500 watt up there. According to them, it's 500. On that jump pack up there, I would say that's about 300 watts. I have a 1100 watt Power Bright, which is modified. 2500 watt Cobra, which is modified. Then I have the Power Station, the North Pole Light. That says 500 watts. That's pure sine wave. But anything modified sine wave, you have to be careful what you're running. This is not built very well. And it may have worked fine, except for the wire exposing and hit, I think it was pushed between the top and the bottom of this case. Right in here. That's why the wire is flat here. It's literally flattened. And I don't know if you can see that. Something like that will 100% destroy an inverter. Now I apologize, this is 40 minutes. But I want you to understand, if it hadn't been for my YouTube channel, I would probably still be fighting with these people on getting a replacement. They have not shipped it yet, but when they do, I will do a review on it, and I will let you know how well it works. But avoid this. Avoid it like the plague. Once again, I'll show you without the top on. This is what the front looks like. Back. Side. And another thing, you can see these screws are really off. I mean, they're not level. They're not straight. Alright, I'm fixing to go. I apologize, 40 something minutes here. If you're the average user or customer, then you should not have to fight. You should go with a company that does you well. It does good for you. You shouldn't just, have to fight these people for a week. If you order something, you should get what you order. You should get what you pay for. And if they fight you on it, fight them back. The advantage I had was 250,000 views on my videos. Now, once again, if you look at my YouTube channel, it doesn't show that many views for most of my videos. But they take all your video views from every platform and add them together. That's still 250,000 people watching my stuff. This company knows that 250,000 people out there watching something can affect their bottom line. They better take care of it. They better fix it. And remember, if you get an inverter, always check here. I want to show you. And I don't know if you can see that. How much of that is actually going over here? Let me get that straight. Hopefully you can see that. And you can see it is actually lifting up here by about that much, actually. So you have to make sure if you use these wires that they send, you have to cut this insulation back if you need to where it will fit and fit flush. That is literally on the heat shrink right here. It's on the heat shrink. That means this is not going to get a full contact. Alright, I am fixing to go now. I do apologize, 43, 44 minutes, 45. But I'm just like the rest of you. I pay for my own orders. And it really ticks me off when a company makes you jump through hoops just to get a replacement on a bad item or bad thing that's messed up. I'm just like any of y'all. The people that watch my videos sure as hell aren't millionaires. And for most of y'all, every dime counts. And if you bought one of these and it's shorted out, you're going to be fighting this company. If you bought one of these for an emergency situation to put away in a box until you need it, and what happens if you take this out, plug it in, and it starts smoking, and because they didn't put it together right? You need to have an inverter that works when you need it, and if it doesn't work, you can either get a refund or get another one. Now, I did not request a refund. I told them I wanted a working power inverter. One that I paid for. I don't care. And I said, I don't care what name it is, what brand it is. I want a 12 volt, 1500 watt power inverter. Because that's what I paid for. One that works. because that's what they sent me. And I did tell them they would either have to give me a power inverter. Would I take a refund if that's all they wanted to do? Sure. But I would rather have an inverter so I could preview it and show it and do a review on it. It's really sad it took 250,000 views to get them to take notice. It took me showing them I had a YouTube channel for them to take notice. I shouldn't have had to done that. And most people don't have a YouTube channel. Most people at home, like the people that watch my videos, do not have a YouTube channel. It should not have taken me showing them I have a YouTube channel and my videos have 250,000 views. It shouldn't have been that way. The company should have said immediately when they saw the fuses in the pictures and they saw the wire in the pictures, they should have said immediately, we're on it, we're sending you a replacement. But no, I went through all that with them. I inspected it like they told me to, look for this, look for that. They were giving me the runaround, and then I brought up, guess what, my YouTube channel. And I sent them a picture of what I was sent as far as my views. Apparently, I have 250,000 views on my videos since last month, well, April. And this is May. As soon as they saw that, as soon as I let them know and they saw that, they were more than happy, more than willing to send me a replacement. It should not have come to that. If you're buying a power inverter, I don't care what company it's from. 1, keep receipts. 2, take screenshots, including your conversations. 3, check it as soon as it comes in. I don't care if you're going to put this thing up and for a year to 2 years until you may need it. You always check it. Now, for most inverters, I recommend running about 300 watts below capacity. So if it says 1500 watts, the most I would run would be 13 to 1350. That's it. That's all I recommend trying to run. That way the inverter stays cool longer. The fans don't have to kick on as much if you're not drawing full power through it. I do apologize. Almost 50 minutes. I'm going to show you once again, and then I'm going to go. Avoid this. And here's what they're sending me. Excuse me, let me see if I can get this without. This looks about like the other one we own. It took me sending them this to get them to take notice. Be careful who you buy from. Be careful what you buy. I apologize for moving around. If it's over 1,000 watts, don't use these. And if you do have to use these, make sure you trim them back enough to where you can get full contact, to where your knobs or your bolts, not bolts, your nuts, excuse me, not bolts, nuts, are not over the heat shrink. That will take away some of your power. You want that to be flush and tight. I don't care if it's one time. If your inverter is doing this, don't use it. Don't put it on anything important because you may regret it. If your inverter's doing that and you're still getting some power out of it, say 150 watts, 200 watts, I still will not trust it. I mean, maybe you can run a light or something like that that's not important to you. But I would not charge a laptop on that. I would not plug anything else into this inverter that I didn't care about. You know, if I cared about it, I wouldn't plug it into this. A light bulb? Shoot, I can change a light bulb. But I would not plug my laptop into this. Alright, I do apologize. I keep saying I'm going to go, and I keep rambling. If you made it to the end, I do thank you. If you are subscribed to me, I do thank you. You don't have to be. I do not upload videos regularly. Because, once again, everything I review, as far as items, we do purchase. I don't get stuff sent to me. And it takes a while to save up money to buy certain things. But thanks to my YouTube channel, and thanks to my video views, this company has stopped fighting me, and they're sending me a replacement. And you have seen what this looks like. Wires frayed, was grounding it out, shorting it out. The fuses are melting. They should have offered to replace this as soon as they found out. Okay, that's it. I'm fixing to go. Once again, avoid this inverter like the plague. And if you don't, and it messes up, fight them tooth and nail because you may have to. Alright, that's it. Everyone have a good day or night, depending on where you're located. And hopefully I'll be able to upload something in the near future. Bye.